Hello, 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 my friends. It is December 18th, which means it is Finn's 11th Gotcha Day. So I don't know Finn's actual birthday. Since I got him when he was like 3 months old, I assume it was sometime in September, but I usually treat his Gotcha Day, aka the day he was adopted from the shelter, as his de facto birthday. And despite Finn being such a star of this channel, I don't think I've ever talked about how I came to adopt him, despite it being the result of several unusual and unfortunate events. I like to tell him that he's lucky he got me as a cat mom because I don't know if the average person would put up with his attitude and antics. He's a finicky boy. But I think everything happens for a reason, and I guess the reason was so that I'd have this little ball of chaos in my life. Okay, let's go back to 2012. It was a rough year of change and loss. I graduated from college in early May. My grandfather passed away after a brutal battle with leukemia in late May. And then my childhood cat, Snowball, passed away on Halloween at 18 years old. If you've seen my early videos, you might have seen the OG Grumpy Queen herself. So that November, I went to the shelter looking preferably for another little white kitten and found Luna, the sweetest little white cat with a small gray patch on her forehead. She was so precious, and I wish I had more photos of her to better remember her by. I think I'd had her for a total of 2 weeks before she started having diarrhea and then soon after throwing up. We went to the vet and they said she probably had just eaten something that upset her stomach, so to syringe feed her some high-calorie food, which was a struggle and traumatic for both of us. But she kept vomiting and couldn't keep anything down, and then she started coughing, so back to the vet we went maybe 4 days later. I saw a different vet this time, and I wish I'd seen him the first time around because I always wonder if it could have saved her. But he thought she'd either eaten a string that had caused an intestinal blockage, or she had some kind of birth defect that didn't really manifest until she got a little bit bigger. But at this point, she'd lost so much weight and was suffering so much that the humane thing to do was, unfortunately, to put her to sleep. I just remember leaving the vet and driving over to my grandmother's house because she lived nearby with my little dead kitten wrapped up in a towel and a cardboard carrier and just sobbing. It was really too much loss that year. I will say something about that experience, altered my brain chemistry, I think, and the way that I am as a pet caretaker. In a week or so, I went back to the shelter where I adopted Luna. I looked at 2 of her siblings that were still there, who actually both looked sickly, which made me wonder if maybe there was a birth defect thing going on. But I saw a little white kitten with tabby patches and a raccoon tail named Nod, who came running up to me and stuck his paws through the cage at me. And there was just this fire behind his little kitten eyes, and I needed some fire after the year I'd had. I needed a cat who was going to live and make me live in return. And boy, has he ever been a little fireball full of life. When I told the shelter I wanted to adopt him, I mentioned what had happened with Luna, and they ended up waiving his adoption fee, which I always thought was so kind. I know they knew I was hurting. So I brought little Nod home a couple days later after he'd been neutered and dubbed him Sir Finnegan. Why? I am not entirely sure. A name like that, you'd think there'd be a big story behind it. I remember brainstorming names with my boyfriend at the time, but I don't remember having any particular reasoning other than it sounded cool. It wasn't until later that I realized Finnegan is actually Irish, meaning fair-haired or white, so fitting nonetheless. But now, 11 years on, I can't imagine my life without this little Spitfire. He's brought me and my family so much joy over the years, and he gets invariably spoiled in return. So happy Gotcha Day, Finn. You will get a churro in celebration. Merry Vlogmas, you guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye!